So we're going to plant some garlic today. We're a little bit later than normal. Usually you would do this in October, but because our warm weather has been stretching out a bit and these are probably the last days of warmth we're going to plant some garlic today. Here's our partial crop from last year. We've also been eating from it through the summer. And so today we're going to take sort of a clove from each one of these garlic clusters here and plant those individual cloves. First, we're going to spread out this compost from our compost pile. So as in the previous video I did on composting, this is just a small chunk of our compost pile. We're going to spread that in the area just beyond here, and then we'll plant the garlic in there. Now we're going to till the compost into the soil in that area. So garlic's actually a very easy crop to grow. Here we add a lot of organic matter to the soil, which actually garlic likes. But our soil was so sandy here, it was almost pure sand when we started this garden 15 or 16 years ago. So every year we've been adding compost and horse manure to the garden. Now it's become quite full of organic matter. So this will be good now. I've tilled this in. Just going to rake it smooth, and then we can define the rows better where we're going to put the garlic. Garlic planted at this time of year apparently has a better chance of lasting over the winter. So the garlic we have here collected from this year should survive over the, or should last over the winter better than if you picked it in this or planted it in the spring and then harvested it in the fall. So that's why a lot of people plant now. Also, the bulbs get a little chance to grow first in the fall, and then they become dormant over the winter. So just going to do a little raking here to smooth out the garden after I tilled it. This just mainly helps to define the rows you're going to plant in, and to make things a little more straight, stuff like that. No major thing. It helps you determine too a better depth for the bulb. Once we get the top flat, then we can dig down the same depth throughout the row instead of going up and down in the row. So there's the little patch we're going to plant now that I've leveled it. Here's a few garlic plants that actually seeded themselves in our little upright container section here. So the seeds off the mature plants probably fell in here, and then Diane arranged them in rows just so they were better spaced out. And they'll continue to grow over the winter, and you can see there's a row of them down the side of this container here. So these young plants that had grown from seed may take about 3 years to reach maturity, and then you could harvest them. So here Diane is just splitting apart the garlic bulbs into cloves, and then a certain number of these in this little pail here will be used to plant that area that we just tilled and prepared. When you do this, you try to pick the best bulbs, so large, healthy looking cloves to plant. As you can probably see here in this close-up, we have a variety of garlic bulb types. Some are red, some are more traditional white. Now, you don't have to get that technical, but it's probably a good idea to just line out your rows here. So here we just strung a little piece of rope along the soil surface here, and that'll be a guide for the first row. So just an example of the planting arrangement for garlic. Generally they go in the soil 3 to 4 inches deep, and within the row 4 to 5 inches apart. You can plant the rows 5 inches apart, but we have a lot of space here, so we're going to plant the rows about 1 foot apart. So just an example of the planting. I'll dig a few, or I'll use this instrument just to press down a few holes at the approximate distance. Then when you put the bulbs in, or the cloves in, you want the broken side down and the pointy side up. There you go, then you cover them in. So once we've got the whole area planted here, and we have everything completed as far as the planting goes, then we cover up the ground with straw. You could also use leaves as a thick mulch. Should be several inches thick. That protects them over the winter from extremely hard freezing. In the following spring, you'll start to see growth if you look under the mulch area, and sometimes even leaves coming through the mulch, and that time you should remove the mulch entirely so the ground can get full warmth from the spring sun, and then their growth will begin in earnest. Outside of the actual proper garden, there was just a little lobe of garden that we plant in with garlic at this point, and they do well here in the sandy soil, so we always have a good ready supply of garlic, which is nice because we like it on almost everything.